Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Dragon Ball Nation. Today we're talking about Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 on Nintendo Switch. Now, the gameplay you see is on Xbox One, so I don't have the game here and we don't know when exactly it's coming out on the Switch, but we do know it is coming out. It might seem weird me doing a video on this, and I thought, hell, I can get away with talking about this. It's Dragon Ball, and I've seen people that want to know my opinion on it. And I think that it's a really cool thing, and over everything, I think it's incredibly shocking to see this game that does take advantage of the current hardware in our consoles to be on the Switch, which is really, by all means, an underpowered console. Now, it's an extremely powerful handheld system, but as a console, it really is, just from what we've seen, and I do know my tech stuff, I am a big gamer, so I know what I'm talking about here. It really is, from what we can see, just a decently stronger Wii U, which is stronger than the last generation, the 360 and the PS3 and the Wii U. This is going to be stronger than all that, but not anything close to what we have right now. And yes, you PC players will say whatever you have to say. But I didn't expect this game to be on the Switch at all. It seemed like it just seemed like it was out of nowhere, really. And I think the one thing to look at is, how is it going to perform? How is it going to run? What are the visuals going to be like? Because I don't have the game on PC, so I don't know what visual levels there are, what settings you can put the game at, really. Is there like a super low setting that takes away like all of the, the Xenoverse 2 has like extremely cool details, like debris flying everywhere, the pebbles hit the ground and they tumble around. There's a lot of physics going on in the game and a lot of really cool lighting effects, and it has a 1080p resolution on consoles as well and 60 frames. So I don't know if you PC players are out there watching this video, but let me know if there's like some low settings where it can take off that stuff, because the way I see it on the Switch, if it's gonna be on Nintendo Switch, I can't see it being the same visual fidelity here and 1080p and 60 frames. And I think the most important thing here is 60 frames. And a lot of people will say like, oh, well, look at, Zelda Breath of the Wild. That's an amazing looking game. Yeah, it's an amazing looking game, and it's amazing for what the hardware they used to build it on. It's amazing it looks as good as it is. It's a Wii U game, and then it's bumped up to in its the home console mode. It's 900p, not 1080p, but it's 900p, 30 frames per second, and it did look like it had some visual bumps, mainly really in like the color and the lighting engine. If you guys have been like paying attention to that stuff, I know maybe I'm going to be confusing like my general viewership if they don't follow the Nintendo Switch or anything like that. I mean, it didn't seem to have any core real graphical upgrades. A little more stable frame rate, and a slightly, a decently better resolution, of course, with that 900p as opposed to it's 720 on the Wii U. So really, it's not even that big of an upgrade there. And when it's in its portable mode, it's 720p again. So presumably it'd look about the same as the Wii U version or close to it. But the thing about that is, that's Nintendo, and Nintendo knows their hardware inside and out. They have like this crazy way of squeezing out just an unrealistic amount of power out of something. It's kind of like Rockstar with GTA 5. Like, there's no reason GTA 5 should have looked as good as it did on 360 and PS3, but they just managed to squeeze out that insane amount of detail of those consoles, and Nintendo just does that with all their games. So they push hardware limits farther than they really should go. They just know how to do it. The reason I'm saying all this is because Dimps, developing the game, if they're even doing the port, we don't know if Dimps is porting the game to the Switch, or is it some other developer, company, or whatever. They are not Nintendo. They don't necessarily, off what I would imagine, know this hardware inside and out. They don't. And even if they did, even if it was something like Nintendo, there's no way that power that has been rumored to be inside there can reach this level of fidelity. So we're going to see some drawbacks. And I know I might be sounding like I'm shitting on the Switch, and I'm not trying to sound like that. I'm just trying to be realistic here, because this is a current generation game. Kind of like how Skyrim Remastered's coming to the Switch. We don't know how that's going to be. But I hope they do try at their very best to get 60 frames on the Switch, whether it means even in the console mode it's going to be 720p, it's going to have dialed back resolution, or dialed back effects, I should say. Not only that, remember Xenoverse 1 on the 360 and PS3. Remember, that had a lot of frame rate problems too, and I think it was a 720p resolution. It might have been below that, but I think it was 720p there. But aside from that, had a lot of visual stuff, and if you never played it on 360 or PS3, it really had very close to the same visuals on the Xbox One and PS4, except some of the textures were dialed back a little bit, very, very minusculely. It's very hard to notice, actually. But overall, it was basically the same as those versions that you played on your PS4 or your Xbox One, just a lower resolution. Things looked a little bit blurrier in some parts, in a very unstable frame rate in like the 3v3 mode. So I think that maybe we could see visuals closer to that. Again, basically bottom line is what I'm saying is Wii U isn't much different than the PS3 and or the Xbox 360. And the Switch is a souped up Wii U, essentially, kind of just from what we're seeing with the games. We just don't have the specs yet. That's the problem. I really do want to see what Skyrim Remastered looks like on there. I want to see what other current generation games that release on PS4 and Xbox One, I want to see what they look like on the Switch, because it's going to be really interesting to see those visuals. It really is, because it's not very close to these consoles. It really isn't. So I'm curious to see what they do with Xenoverse 2. I hope they do try to get to 60 frames, whether they do have to pare back visuals or not. Definitely, I don't think we're going to get 60 frames 1080p. There's just no chance of that. Even if they dial back visuals, I just don't see that happening at all, really. And we don't know when it's coming out. According to Kanzenshuu, it has like a tentative title, so there might be a tagline at the end of it, like a subtitle at the end. My guess is it's probably going to be released at the end of the year, or whenever all the DLCs release, it'll be like, you know, an Ultimate Edition or something like that, I guess. But that's pretty much it for the video. I know it might have been a little strange to hear me talk about this stuff. I don't really go into gaming territory a lot, unless it is strictly just Dragon Ball, but I guess this is my opportunity to talk about the Switch and Xenoverse 2, but I thought it was cool to share my thoughts on this. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think Switch is going to manage to hit 60 frames of this game? Do you think they're going to dial it back to like 30 or something? We'll have to see, but let me know your thoughts down below, and of course, as always, I'll catch you later.